Hi you guys, this is Nicole from My Carolina Garden, and my yard is made up of a whole bunch of full sun gardens. And my favorite thing to have in those gardens are perennials. The reason I love perennials, yeah, sure, so you don't have to go and spend money every single year buying these flowers over and over again to fill up your flower beds. That's one thing. But the other reason is, the bigger reason is, perennials get bigger. You can divide them up and add them to different places in your landscape. I would like to share with you my top 10 favorite full sun perennials that get bigger and more beautiful every single year. As gardeners and plant lovers, I have to say it is extremely difficult to narrow it down to only 10. But I chose these 10 in no particular order because of certain specifications that I felt they met. One of the things is I garden in zone 8B in southeastern North Carolina. I understand my growing season is longer than a lot of other folks. So I wanted to pick perennials that were not hardy only in my area or mainly in the south. I wanted to pick ones that had a hardiness zone range closer to starting at zone 4. So on average, all of the plants I'm picking here are perennials that will get larger, that can be divided up, and are hardy to zone 4. Here we go. I am going to start with daylilies. Now, I don't just mean these kind of orange daylilies, which maybe are seen as more common, but I have other daylilies as well. I have two other varieties that are right here, all budded up, just not opened up yet. I have daylilies in all different sized mounds and that come in different colors in many different parts of my yard. Daylilies are hardy zones 4 to 9, and they thrive in full sun. That's where you're going to see the most blooms from these guys. One of the things I really appreciate about daylilies is they are heat and drought tolerant. So while they are hardy up into zone 4 where it can get a little chillier, I really appreciate the aspect of these flowers still looking amazing in heat and drought conditions, which I do suffer from in North Carolina, especially during the time that these guys are going to bloom. It's hot out right now. Next on my list is Gaillardia, or the blanket flower. Blanket flowers are different than the daylilies. The daylilies mound up, and that is how they spread. And then you can divide up those mounds and move them to other places. The blanket flower is a self-seeder, so it gets these really tiny little delicate seeds on their seed pods that blow away in the breeze, and they reseed themselves anywhere they see fit. Well, the blanket flower is, depending on the variety, is hardy to zones 3. Now here, I live in a coastal area. I have sandy soil. The blanket flower absolutely loves the sandy soil. So you'll see them growing wild at the beach, etc. These are not fussy perennials at all. So each year I end up getting mounds and mounds and mounds of the blanket flower. Glorious color, self-seeders, not fussy. What more could you ask for? Next on my list is the coneflower, and more specifically, the echinacea. So the echinacea is hardy to zone 4 once again. Some other great features about the echinacea, besides the fact that it also gets seed pods on it, much like the blanket flowers, the seeds will drop. That is one of the ways in which the echinacea can spread. You can also divide it up with a shovel, like I have done here and have created 2 plants for myself. The echinacea is a pollinator attractor, I say, as there are many, many bees around me. Pollinators are attracted to everything I'm sitting near. They are heat and drought tolerant. Once again, this is wonderful for my area. These guys have started blooming for me just recently. I am in May now, and they're going to keep blooming throughout the entire summer. So, echinacea. Next on my list is the Shasta Daisy. Daisies remind me of just summer and countryside, and I love them. Daisies are also going to be spreading with the mounding habit. You can divide them up by dividing with your shovel and taking a mound and moving it elsewhere. They are spring bloomers. However, the very nice thing about them is you can see how tall they are while they are blooming. When they are not blooming, they are just green tufts. At least for me, the green foliage stays stays there as evergreen. I cannot complain about that at all. It just looks small to the ground, and now I have this gloriousness happening. So Shasta Daisies, hardy zones 5+. Salvia. Salvia may not have the showiest blooms, but it has a very unique bloom structure. That's what I love about it. You see these little purple flowers on it? Okay, that's Salvia. Salvia is hardy zones 5 to 9. This is something that starts blooming in the spring and is going to bloom until fall. Another great thing about Salvia is if you have a healthy plant, you don't have to worry so much about pests like we do with some of these other things like Japanese beetles and aphids and all that nonsense. Next on my list is Primrose, and I am being very careful here next to the Primrose because we have lots of bee activity happening here. Primrose is a spring blooming perennial. This guy is an aggressive self-seeder, so you end up with each of these tall plumes being essentially self-seeded by the plant itself. You need space to have Primrose, but look at this glorious sea of yellow that I have. This yellow is the evening Primrose. It is hardy to zone 3, so many of us get to enjoy this beautiful flower. And yes, I'm sorry I'm distracted. There are just so many bees right near me. See this beautiful clump of green right here? Oh, how I wish it was blooming to show you right now. But these are the Stargazer lilies. They will be blooming in June. Oh, they are so magnificent. They are beautiful. They are part of the Oriental lily family. They have an awesome fragrance. These guys also spread, and you can dig, divide up, and move. So I have 3 additional clumps from this parent plant because the beauty is just too good not to move around the yard. Here is another clump of that Stargazer lily that I did take from that parent plant. So you can imagine how glorious this area is going to be with the addition of this plant right here. Stargazer lilies are hardy zones 3 through 9 and bloom for 2 glorious weeks in the summer. The next perennial I have for you is the Rudbeckia or Blackeyed Susans. So I have a clump here. I have a clump, let's see if I don't fall off my rocks. Here, back here. Rudbeckia is yet another perennial, as I'm saying, that can be divided up and just add color in multiple places in your yard. While it is not blooming right now, it will bloom all summer long. So we have the deep yellow flower with the dark center. Oh my goodness. This flower bed gets very yellow, very sunshiny, and very happy all summer long thanks to the Blackeyed Susan. Blackeyed Susan is hardy to zone 3. So many of us get to enjoy this flower. The birds even like it. This is the type of seed head that you can leave on without deadheading if you choose, and the birds can peck at it and drop more seeds to the ground and spread the plant even bigger. Blackeyed Susans are also heat and drought tolerant. If you didn't understand that before, you understand now that that is very important to me. Blackeyed Susans. You will never hear me say anything negative about a perennial hibiscus. This is the Luna Rose hardy hibiscus, and it is hardy zones 4 through 9. How can you possibly complain about a hibiscus that is hardy as a perennial in zone 4? Oh my gosh! This particular plant gets the large magenta blooms. In most cases, it's going to bloom like real summer, July, August, September. For me, it's about to start now. I have some buds on it already, and I'll show you some beginning to open up at the bottom of the plant. Oh my goodness. Hardy hibiscus, Luna Rose. And finally, I would like to show you the Speedwell. This is Sunny Border Blue Speedwell, and the reason I love this one is for its unique structure. So I have a very large plume here in the center, and then I have some smaller ones that go around the outside of each tall purple piece. This sweet plant that gets bigger each year is hardy zones 4 through 9. And something else that's good about it for me is that it is salt tolerant, which is nice because we have salty air right here next to the coast. So color, structure, and beautiful perennial. I hope you loved seeing some of my favorite perennials just as much as I loved showing them to you. Again, this list is not exhaustive, but I have full sun gardens here. I wanted to show you some of the things that thrive for me just in case they can thrive for you as well. Thanks for watching and happy planting.